Hello, hello, hello. So sorry we are late. I was having computer issues and I'm the one who sets it up through StreamYard and I couldn't do that because my computer wasn't letting me do anything. So I apologize for being late. Um, Fran and I have both had incredible weeks. Neither of us are really like 100% here today. And so we didn't have a chance to talk about what we're going to talk about today. And so you are going to get us at our best squirrel ever because neither of us have any idea. So thank you for joining. This is Friday with Fran. We appreciate you being here. We know that you have hundreds of thousands of other choices on the internet and also of what you could be spending your time doing. So we so thank you for being here and we hope you enjoy being with us today, just as we enjoy being with you. If you are watching live, please know hashtag live. If you're watching in the replay, let us know hashtag replay. If questions, let us know. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, let us know because I'm so tired. How are you, Fran?
It has been one of those, if it can go the different direction than you were planning, it's gonna.
Oh, okay.
But, I came across this realization, tomorrow when I normally pray that God would give me my next step.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then I go ahead and plan out my day in the process while I'm at it. Hi, Michael. And I, but and then so when it doesn't go the way I had planned it, I tend to think it's gone awry. But when in reality, I have to realize, well, I've asked him for my next step, and so he's done that, and he's giving it to me. And so to me, I've realized, oh, that must mean that my plans were not really what the next step should have been. So I need to
Right.
learn to be a little less rigid, a little more flexible.
Okay. That's good point. Having trouble. Oh no, the second one posted. Okay. For some reason, my hi to
They're
Alex
both
didn't.
there.
Okay. No, but it's saying it was a problem with the YouTube page.
Oh,
So, but I think it's okay now. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it
I
is.
can
Maybe
see
it
it
isn't.
on the Facebook page that
Okay.
you're posting, but I don't know. Um,
So when you make plans, God laughs and says, "But these are my plans for you." Is that what you're saying?
Something along those lines, yeah. So, and it made me realize, um, I tend to think of, well, both of my kiddos are, once there's a schedule, they tend to think that's how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't always, uh, I don't always understand it in the moment. And then I'll catch myself getting frustrated. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what's going on, and then we can work through the process.
Yeah.
But I tend to be maybe just as rigid in some ways, is what I just discovered.
Well, I don't. I don't know that rigid is how I would describe it. I mean, you're expecting a certain thing, but you said you'll realize it. So
But
when
when
you
it doesn't
realize,
happen, I feel myself getting like inside. I can feel myself getting like anxious,
yeah,
maybe or uneasy, and and then
but
I'm
you
like,
change, right? I mean, you
what?
still you flex, you change to what the new thing that is happening.
Sometimes kicking and screaming, but yes, I do flex.
Okay. Well, maybe the kicking and screaming times would count as you being rigid, but the other times, I mean, because I think everybody makes plans, to some extent. Even when you don't think you've made plans. It's one of those unconscious, or not unconscious, subconscious things that
Right.
happens, and so then we have these expectations and we don't realize we have them until they're not met.
Uh-huh. And then it's even um, harder is you have not conveyed because you really didn't realize you had planned something to the
Right.
people around you, and they really didn't think they were making plans and they were making plans. And because there was a lack of communication or no communication, when something happens, there tends to be a little bit of discourse, and because somebody's plans are not occurring because somebody's doing what they thought we were doing. And yeah,
Right.
and that's kind of what's been happening in my house
Okay.
recently. And um like today was like putting out fires.
Oh,
um
those are exhausting days.
so I went and spent some time with my son to put some fires out there. And then I did not sleep all night because we had fires here. And then um, I purposed to step away, so took care of those fires with my son, and then came home and worked on the fires here. So it's, uh, but God is good. I believe the fires are all at least contained now, so we're doing good.
Yeah. I did not sleep well last night either. Poor Jonas was not feeling well,
Oh no.
which required him to be outside releasing what was not feeling well.
Uh,
But I was happy that I was awake and that I was able to get him outside because I would not
right.
have wanted to have
Got
found
it.
unwanted presence all around the house today. Um, but he is doing better. I was working this morning at a pre-K classroom, and when I came home, um, he had been here by himself because Kevin's at work and Violet's at work, and I was outside the home working today. But he greeted me. He's running around. He's happy. He's fine.
Good.
He's drinking and eating. So um, I think he's been dealing with allergies, and so I think he was just getting rid of that stuff.
Got it.
Not
Yeah.
to be graphic.
Not to be
Trying really
graphic,
hard not to be graphic,
but
to let you
yeah,
know
I
what I
think
had
my
to deal
boy
with.
is graphic, or not graphic. I think my boy is dealing with allergies as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Um, so yeah, I'm a little tired today as well, and I have been in this pre-K classroom uh, every day but one. This and so I was in there this many days this week, and last week I was in there this many days, I think. And so I'm getting really familiar with the kids and the routine and everything. But because I'm
hmm,
tired, I could tell I didn't have the same level of energy, first of all, with them,
right.
and
Hmm.
my mental capacity. And I don't know if people really understand what a classroom is like, those who have never been in a classroom. But I've thought about that a lot this past week because in this pre K room, I've not been the teacher, I've been the assistant. And I never sit down. And it's not that I am always working with kids directly, but I need to get through their folders and get notes for the teacher. And then I need to put their folders in their backpacks and put notes in their folders if they did have any notes. And then I'm getting ready for snack time. And then I'm handing out snack. And then we're out at recess. And I'm running around tying shoes and putting smocks on for painting and playing in the water and putting out little fires constantly. And
Hmm.
so I'm always on guard, kind of. I don't know if that's really the best word to use, but okay, here's an instance. I'm doing something over here, but I'm listening to what these two kids are doing in this center, and trying to figure out when is the time that I have to intervene or don't have to intervene. And we've got a couple of kiddos in the room that are um, they don't have the idea that when center time is over or circle time is over or recess is over, that they have to stop what they're doing and go line up or go on to the next thing. And so remembering to explain to them in a nice calm manner that I understand that you're having fun, but it's now time to move to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher is amazing, and they have great activities. And like I said, there's an art center, there's a water table, there's painting, there's a housekeeping center, a block center, um, puzzles, books. I mean, it's everything you could want, I guess, in a pre-K room. And she's teaching. I'm getting all these other things, and that's what the assistant is supposed to be doing, so that the teacher can teach. But just it's just constant movement, and there's constant noise because they're 3-4-year-olds, and they aren't capable of sitting for too long without making noise. And then when they're at their centers, they're making noise because they're talking to one another, they're interacting with one another, maybe they're interacting with me or the teacher. And having been kind of confined for 15 months because of the pandemic, but even prior to that, working from home, I'm usually here by myself, so I'm not used to all that noise. So the noise was almost overwhelming to me, trying to get used to having that again.
Got it. Yeah.
So I've been very, very tired this week. And then yesterday, that's been every morning. And then yesterday afternoon, I went and worked in a junior high class at another school district.
Uh-huh.
And Wednesday afternoon, I taught in the special education room at the same district where the pre-K is.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been teaching a lot, and because we have a shortage, and there are lots of schools reaching out and saying, "Can you help?" And I hate to say no when I can, but it's taxing on my brain.
Got it.
So I'm always trying to, I have to be aware of, okay, there's 20 kids in this room, and where are they all at? And what are they all doing? And I get that there's another adult and she's doing the same thing, but even with 2 adults and 20 kids, there's still a possibility that you're missing stuff. Well, it's probably not even a possibility. The reality is you're missing stuff. Remember, when a fire is put out, it's a clean start for new growth. That's directed at you and all the fires you're putting out.
I saw that. I like that, Michael. Thank you. Because I know a lot of times they'll burn something to start a new growth. So, and my cat is sensing my need, so she's attending to it. So she's like all the way up my chest, sitting here. See?
Yep, I can see her.
I mean, that's how she climbs
hi,
up.
Emmy. And where's Cooper?
He's got his I'm not quite sure if it's a cousin. Yahtzee's here, so they're out wandering.
Oh, that's fun.
So, what was I gonna say?
I don't know. We don't have a direction to go today.
Yeah, well, I was gonna go with that fire thing. Oh yeah. Fire. Guess what I did?
I hope you didn't start a fire for real.
Well, I'm going to when I go camping. But what do you need to have a fire?
Firewood.
Yeah. Well, my neighbor was nice, and he was throwing wood over the fence, but some of it was like as tall as me. And so I got a chainsaw, but I just could not get it started. And I know how to use a chainsaw, and it just wouldn't start. It wouldn't start. And so, you know that thing that they always put on Facebook that says the last thing you bought on Amazon is your weapon?
Yeah.
Mine's a camp axe. So I used my camp axe, and it worked really, really well. But this is what I wanted to share. I used to cut wood all the time for our stove in Germany, and I was very confident and comfortable doing that. Well, okay, I was in Germany when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
I was a much not so I
That
was
was
much differently able than
right. Just a little bit
it,
ago, right?
yeah. And so um as I started, I knew this axe was very sharp because it was brand new.
Hmm.
And I also knew that there was a potential that my hand might let go of it. So I was uneasy about the fact that I could not jump out of the way if it came swinging at my legs because I only have a leg to stand on.
Right.
So I was trying to be wise and position myself safely. And so once, because so I was kind of just half heartedly trying to get the hang of how to swing it and to see if my hands would hold it.
Uh-huh.
And then as I'm swinging away, um, I realized I'm not making much depth into this wood as I'm swinging because I'm afraid to swing with full force because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So finally, once I got where I thought, oh, my legs are safe, I pulled them around the outside of my roller rater. So they were outside of the metal part of it. And I thought, well, they're as safe as they're going to be. Um, I started swinging away and it was amazing. It was so much safer for me to go with being fully committed into each swing rather than hesitant because my swung swung true. The axe swung true, and the head ended up where it needed to be each time because there was no hesitancy. And it reminded me that so often in life, when we're unsure or have never done something, how we kind of just hem and haw and kind of um, just try it a little bit, but we until we wholeheartedly embrace it and dive in, sometimes we can't experience that which is we're trying to do. We can't get the whole experience. And so the so then I was splitting the wood pretty rapidly and I had a pretty good pile going by the time we were done. So, but if I had continued to just kind of half-heartedly chop down, I don't think I would have much wood for my time of camping.
Um, oh, okay. We actually have a question. So
Oh, we
let's get
do?
to
I
that
don't
in
have
just
anything
a
here.
second. So that's very interesting. Because as you were telling it, I was really worried, first of all, that you were going to tell me that you had injured yourself somehow. And then as you got into it, I thought, oh, there's a lesson here. Because when you mentioned the part about, you know, fully committing to it and how
Uh-huh.
much better it got, then I was like, oh, yep, there's the lesson. She's going to get to it, or otherwise I'm going to have to figure out how to come up with a good idea, or
Uh,
a good example. But you're right. Um, it is when we do something scary or different or um, new.
mhm.
You're right. Oftentimes, at least I don't 100% fully commit to it at the onset. So,
But as I swung, I got more practice. But yeah, let's go to that question.
okay. So this person says, hello, I have a middle school student who is in person this year and virtual school last year. He constantly asks, how am I supposed to be good all day? Oh,
You
that's
break
first.
it up.
Well, but I first of all, I don't like the. I feel bad
I
that that's the
know.
way that he's asking. How am I supposed to be good all day? First and foremost, let him know that he is good all day. Well, I say he. Oh yeah, he has ADHD. Okay, he is good. It's his behavior that he's concerned about. So make sure that he understands that his behavior is separate from who he is as a person.
Yes.
Um, that's my first advice. And yeah, Fran, so you can continue to speak about the breaking it up.
I call it chunking. Chunk the day up into pieces and have a goal for each chunk of your day
Mhm.
and it makes it so much easier to control it. For me personally, it helps me to stay on track and to feel like I'm not that I'm good, but that I am not straying.
Yeah.
So by that, should I give an example?
Yeah.
Okay, so like let's say instead of looking at the whole day from the time you get there till the time you leave, instead look at it as, okay, it was a middle school student, right?
Yes.
So they probably have subjects. So let's say I have math to start. So I would focus that's my chunk. And I would only focus on that, and I wouldn't even think about the rest of the day and figure out what the goal of that math is and go from there.
Yeah.
And then to your next chunk. So that's what I mean by chunking. Is that
Yeah.
um sorry, I'm not a teacher, so I don't know, but that's how I would tackle it.
Well, no, I mean, that's awesome because, you know, you've said before you think you might have ADD or ADHD as an adult because, and I think that sometimes too with the, not maintaining our focus or my focus on things. And something else, and first of all, E. Calhoun, thank you for the question and welcome. It's
Yeah.
nice to have you here. And so the second thing I would say that kind of goes along with what Fran just said is in that chunking, I'll continue to use her math example. So let's say that during math, some behaviors happened. When math is over, try very hard to not think about those behaviors anymore. Focus on maintaining what you need to do for the next chunk.
You can even go with what Michael said with that. You know, that fire's out, we're moving forward.
Right,
Clean start,
right.
new chunk.
Yeah. And patience. Right now, everything is still strange. In the school settings, there are like I don't know where you are, E. Calhoun, as far as like what your school district is doing as far as masks, no masks I mean, I know you said your child is in person, but in your area as far as the rates and here we're in Illinois and we've been told that there's potential for lockdown again and quarantining again and all those kinds of things. And so um, making sure that your child is talking about how they're feeling about all those potential changes and all those differences, but also we're all still trying to get used to being in person for a lot of things. And like I mentioned, I don't know if you were on at the beginning, but when I talked about, just having those noises again, having to social distance. I mean, I feel like there's so much that everybody is supposed to try to be aware of all the time now. Do I have my
Hmm.
mask on? Am I socially distanced 3 feet or 6 feet, whatever the guidelines are in your area? Did I wash my hands? And just and then do I have this book? Do I have this assignment? Do I have this? Do I have that? Um, Making a chart um, of the child's schedule, that can be helpful sometimes too. Like Fran said, the chunking, like, okay, from whatever time to whatever time is math. And for these subjects, or for that subject, I normally need a notebook, a pen, a calculator, protractor, whatever they need for a math class. And then, have another on the next level for English class. It's from this time to this time. And normally what I need is this. And just maybe putting that in a folder or a binder or whatever the child kind of keeps with them throughout their whole day. And letting them kind of have like a little checklist of, okay, this is going to help me stay focused. This is going to help me stay on time. If I
Can I
know,
add?
yeah,
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
Can I add to that? Because what you're sharing is something we actually did with my daughter she had a binder, and in the front of it, we slid a piece of paper that we, in essence, chunked her day. But not only did we write things, we color coded it.
Mhm.
So, like that subject, the folders, everything was that color. So she knew just to grab that color when in doubt.
Right. Yeah. And from my teaching experience, I don't recall teachers getting upset if students came in with more than what they needed, unless it became a distraction because they had so much paper hanging out of their folder, or something fell off their desk because they had too much. But if a kid got in trouble, or if there was a problem, I don't even want to say the child got in trouble, but it would be because they didn't have enough stuff usually. So yeah, having the schedule, and then I'm going to show you, because these are coming from YouTube, Fran, so you probably can't see these unless I pop them up, right?
Or unless I exit full screen and then I go and look. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So
But
yeah, I
if you put them
appreciate
up, it's easier for that.
right. I appreciate being clear about the child and the behavior. I usually tell him he learns differently. He has dyslexia. Love advice about chunking, one subject at a time. So you're in an open state, everything goes. So yeah, and just letting him know that, like I said, it's everybody is adjusting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
It happens.
I'm
See,
sorry.
it happens to us. Show them this episode and let them know. Even we can't maintain our focus all the time.
Oh, it's I'm trying to, well, okay, my cat is like doing these gymnastics in front of me, and you're not the clearest on the screen, and so your words aren't lining up with your lips, and I read your lips a lot of times. So
Right.
it's throwing me off because I'm hearing, but your lips aren't doing the same thing. So
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. So those are my distractions in the midst of this chunk of time.
Right.
And so I'm trying to draw myself back in. So I
And
apologize.
another thing, E. Calhoun, is when your child does well, make sure that they show themselves appreciation for that and recognize that, like, hey, I got through this class and I did okay. And now I'm gonna head into the next class. Are there specific and commented, thank you for the color coding by subjects idea. Love it. And that is huge. Trapper keeper, I don't know if that's what they call them now, but that's what they were when I was in school.
But a lot of people, you can't use those now in school.
Really?
Yes, because they take up too much room in the lockers.
Oh.
You would think it would make sense, but yeah, it was.
Does your child have an IEP? Because these are things that could be written as accommodations. So, Michael says it must be an internet issue. Audio is fine, but you both are frozen. Oh,
well,
I'm not really around frozen a little bit, so we're not frozen.
But I'm not frozen. I'm actually kind of hot, and that could be part of the problem too. Maybe we need Elsa and let it go.
Maybe that might work. But yeah, E. Calhoun, if your child doesn't have a 504 or an IEP, chat with me afterwards and I can help you go through some of the steps about getting that. If they do have one of those things, yeah, those definitely can be written in accommodations. And I'm trying to think of what else students do. The color coding is a big thing.
You can also get where the teacher could check in with the student.
Check in, check out. Well. Yeah, those.
To help. Hey, just show me as you're coming in what you have to make sure we have it all, so we're on track.
So I'm not clear, but
no,
Fran is very clear. So I wonder if it's something with my computer. Yeah, it must be, because everybody's having problems with me. So
I don't have problems with you. I like you. I've never had problems with you.
Wait, I don't think that's exactly true. I can't.
I have never had a problem with you. We have always had a very unfiltered relationship.
Well, this is
spoken truth. correct?
This is true. Oh, and you know
See?
what? I why can't I get this there? Um, I do have a little notification up on the top of my screen, and one of the reasons that we were late, as I said at the beginning, was I was having tech issues. So it's very likely that it's my computer for some reason. Maybe I'm on a wireless desktop, but
Oh, there it is.
I have like an extender thingy that's supposed to pull it in, get my wireless stronger. So maybe that's because my computer was off. Maybe that's not kicked in or anything this morning.
I did find that it was when are you always wireless?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I know the times that I've been off, not on my home computer, that it's been if I didn't plug in wherever I was,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little fuzzified.
Oh, fuzzified. I've never heard
Yeah,
that word
fuzzified.
before.
You know.
Yeah. So, gosh, brain, I'm drawing a blank on other things.
Well, I think the just even the check in check out is a real key if it's possible, because I know sometimes teachers feel like that's an extra. From experience, I can say this honestly. I've had teachers feel like it was going to cause an extra step for them that they just didn't have time for. But once
Mm-hmm.
they realized and it became a routine, it really didn't add any extra step to them. And it um, also required my daughter to be responsible to do the check in as well.
Right.
It wasn't that the teacher had to hunt her down. In the beginning, yes, that was required because to establish the routine took a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the
Uh,
check in, check out thing is definitely scientifically researched based. So that's definitely
um,
something that a lot of schools use. And
Also,
something else that,
where is he sitting?
yeah, um, I was just going to talk about that too.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. It doesn't matter that I was in the classroom and you weren't. You have more experience with your kids than what I do. I didn't have a lot of middle school experience. Most of my in-person teaching, my classrooms were primary. I did have kids that were older, but they didn't go out to other classrooms too much. So we didn't have to worry about this too much. But sometimes just a brain reset. So they may want to talk to their teacher and just say, like, if I can stand up and stretch, or if I can, just even if you can do this, if you literally like intertwine your fingers, they say that helps you retain more. And then just kind of doing some like in your seat types of things just to get the blood flowing a little bit and oxygen flowing a little bit better. And try not to, I know this is going to sound strange, but try not to maintain one focus point the whole time. It's important to look around every once in a while, because otherwise your brain starts to like make everything fuzzy. It like puts you in a trance.
Maybe
So
that's why I do so well when I have with all my monitors.
it could be.
No, really, because when I only have a single monitor, I really struggle when you and I have our times.
Yeah. But the reason I said I bet that sounds funny is because most people are like, look at me. But it does. It just takes like just a quick reset. Or let me think. I feel really bad that I'm not coming up with stuff. So I'm extremely grateful for your insight, Fran, because I'm totally blanking out right now.
It's all good. It's all
That's why we
good.
do this together.
Yeah. So, um, so yeah, I would say maybe even where where he's sitting. Um, for me, I had to sit so my neck wasn't crooked, but I didn't. but sitting in the very front, then I felt like everyone was staring at my back because they were. So I kind of had to find a way that I could turn at an angle, but not be in the very, very front.
Right. And for some kids, being in the front, they want to do stuff to get, like they're turning around to see what's going on behind them if somebody's talking. And so that distracts them. And so for some kids, actually being in the back and being able to see everything is preferential seating for that person.
Right.
And there was, I just had another thought. Oh, here, headphones. If they can wear headphones to maybe block out some of the other noises, but can still hear the teacher and have their focus on what the teacher is saying. That's another idea.
And yeah, and I even use that. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, but I found these things. They're really cool. I found them in a box store, and they're in the sporting goods section near the ammunition. And they have where you can close them completely or you can open it so you can adjust how much sound you're allowing in. And much cheaper than buying custom made ones.
Right. Huh. That's cool.
And then they're not as bulky and they're not completely soundproof, because a lot of times it's hard if you do have the headphones. If they're noise canceling, you don't hear anything.
Right. And yeah, I didn't suggest noise canceling for that reason, because it is harder to hear. And these kind, the earbuds, depending on how far they're in, or like I just got a pair not too long ago, and I'm still not used to them yet, but it does actually.
Yeah, you're supposed to be using those, aren't you?
I know. Well, they're not working with the computer. They work great with my phone, but we haven't been able to figure out how to connect them to the computer yet. So for some reason, the Bluetooth connection between the computer and the headphones isn't working. So
you might need to download a driver for them specifically.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we messed with it for a while one day, and then we both got frustrated, and we haven't come. And by we, I mean mostly my husband. I tried, and I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to ask him, because he'll know how to fix this stuff faster than I will anyway. So, but yeah, anyway, so yeah, just trying to get that stuff sort of figured out. And another thing which has helped, Walker Game Ear is what I think Fran is talking about. Does that sound familiar?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just buy them till they fall apart, and then I go buy another set, or I lose them.
Well, there you go.
Because I wear a Bluetooth in this most of the time, so it's normally just in this one, unless I'm singing on the praise team or something. Right. And then I use them both because you don't wear your Bluetooth. But because the Bluetooth in itself cancels out everything else generally.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Michael. Sorry. I'll look.
Calhoun, does your son have specific things that regularly draw his attention away from the teacher? Because then, we could focus more on how to help him take his focus away from that. Another thing that I was thinking of when I was talking about the headphones is kind of the opposite. First, you put the headphones because you want to block out noises. But you can also potentially have wearing headphones that have noise going into them, like a white noise, because then that also helps block out other noises and helps the brain sometimes be able to focus on who's speaking and what they're speaking about.
Or sometimes having something. Do you have it in your hand?
No. What?
Oh, you don't have your fidget?
Oh, well, I have this. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of I just make it. Yeah.
So go ahead. You run with it.
So,
that was fine. What you had in your hand was sufficient even.
Right. But I was looking for the other one. No, I just dropped it. But yeah, sometimes having motion. So like this little thing, I keep moving it the wrong way. You can't really see it. All this is you all maybe it's this little blue bottom part of underneath my cap, and I've just
The
folded it.
ring.
Yeah. And I so just having something in my hand to occupy my hands, well, sometimes that does something in the brain, so that the brain can kind of divide itself. And because it's getting the sensory stimulation that it needs from me doing this, um, it can help the child sometimes focus better. Or the other thing that I just grabbed are these like TheraBand type things.
Yeah, no.
And you can put these on their chairs, and so they can keep their feet busy. But yeah, there's lots and lots of, I can't believe that wasn't the first thing that came to mind. Lots and lots of fidgets. They can be soft, they can be hard. It's a trial and error type thing. But you have to teach them, and the teachers have to teach them the difference between using it as a tool and using it as a toy. Because just because they have a fidget doesn't mean it's the right fidget for them. And so they'll sometimes start playing with it because it's not giving them that input that they need.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that when you're working on those kinds of things, yeah, that you get the thing that works best for them. He wants to fit in now that he is older, and that starts to happen in the middle school. Most definitely, he has a small fidget toy. Unfortunately, he loses his stress toys. When you say lose, like the teacher takes them, he loses them, or loses them like actually misplaces them. I will tell him to intertwine his fingers like you suggested. Yeah, and something else.
You know what? Oh,
good.
I was just thinking about losing because my daughter on her own she attaches them to herself with either a lanyard or a D-ring. And so then she fidgets off of her waist.
Yeah.
So it's still there. And then, but I did have to laugh. I have to throw this out there because, Pigpen and Charlie Brown, and he just has that. Yeah. Well, my daughter always aired on too much, way too much. And she would have around her desk, you knew where she was because there was everything on the desk, coming out of the desk, on her neighbor's desk, under her neighbor's desk, under everyone's desk, across the room, there was a trail because she just had the need to have that much stuff.
Yeah.
So with her, it was a matter of you only bring what the colored things are.
Right.
To help her start to realize that she didn't need to have everything in that moment.
Right.
So anyway, but that was her own way of keeping track of her fidgets.
Yeah, and that's a good way. Something that I thought of, and I was looking around to see if I had it nearby, but I don't. There's a company, I believe it's called Calm Strips, and for me they didn't work, but they're very very lightly textured. They're about that long, and you can stick them to things. And so, and then you just kind of rub your finger over it, or you can like scratch at it. Again, it just depends on what you prefer individually. But the thing that I thought of right before Fran started talking was just like squeezing the hand or putting it into a fist and opening it, or just tightening the gluteus maximus and then releasing it, because again, that kind of the blood flow thing, or tightening any of the muscles and then releasing them. It doesn't have to be the gluteus maximus, but just any types of muscle like that, to just get that stimulus of the brain, that oxygen and that blood flow going again. Something that is very comforting to me, or kind of helps me relax. And and this might work for kind of like a fidget, is to just like rub, take one finger and just rub in the palm of his hand, because he can do that and nobody's like, he could just have his hands like this and just rub it with his thumb, or
Mm-hmm.
that, yeah, the intertwining of the fingers is good. Okay, so he just misplaces them, because that's a completely a separate issue than if the teacher was taking them. I'd have a really difficult time if the teacher was taking them. um, or you
Unless,
could
of course, he was using them as a toy, and then the teacher
right,
could be taking
right,
them. But yeah.
right, exactly. Sometimes too, and this might not work for him because he might move around so much, but on the bottom of the desk, sometimes putting like some Velcro or something textured that he can just rub his hand on. And the reason I say it could be difficult is because if he doesn't sit in the same desk every time he goes from one class to the next class, or if they move seating charts around, periodically. But that could be something else to where it's not as noticeable the rest of the class that, he's rubbing his hand underneath his desk, or depending on the kinds of desk or the tables or whatever. I mean, I don't know what the environment looks like, but that's another thing, is just having some sort of texture.
Or you could attach it to the binder.
Right. It could be attached to the binder as well, but sometimes they don't let them have binders out. But yeah, I mean, just kind of understanding what their environment looks like and figuring out where might be the best, if that's even an option that you want to go with. But again, that's something that you need to communicate with the teacher. Hey, we want to try this. But helping him maybe identify the things that happen when he notices that he has to notice that his attention is going elsewhere. So, those signs, like, does his body start to ache? Does he just like literally look in a different area for a long time? Does his mind start to wander? Bead bracelets, that's an excellent suggestion, Alex. Those are good too, because
Oh,
guys
sorry,
and
go
girls
ahead.
can have those on. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
like I've seen them on both. What were you going to say, Fran?
Do you remember when, it's been a bit now, thankfully, when I got my double concussion,
Uh-huh.
and I got kind of happy hands, I called them, for lack of a better, because I'd never had that to be how I dealt with my environment, and it became a way I was dealing, but it wasn't always um, received well,
Uh-huh.
or it wasn't appropriate because I needed to, I was trying to convey a point and it was distracting from that point, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So, like, and I wasn't aware of it, but those around me were, so they would reach out and tap me. So maybe he might not know when he's off. And so touching base, like you said, with the teacher would help. Maybe they could say, hey, this is where I see when he tends to, when his focus tends to, what distracts.
Right.
So I think what that really touches on, though, more than anything, is all you've said and we've been sharing, and as we've been asking, is it's a team approach. It can't just be, we can't expect a student to be able to figure it all out because they're in the moment. So how are they?
Right.
And you can't expect the teacher to figure it all out because they are teaching, generally they're teaching more than a student.
Right.
So they may miss that key point where the student all of a sudden gets distracted.
Right.
So and as a parent, you may know what happened at home, and that could attribute to why the distraction occurred in that chunk that day, kind of thing.
Right.
So that's why I think it's so important to realize that education, even with the neurotypical, typically developing, whatever you want to call it, uh, students, the it truly is a team approach. It is all about working together. And one of the phrases I've come up with that I really like is stronger together.
Mhm.
We're always stronger together.
Right.
I mean, think about when you hurt a finger, you break a finger. I don't know if they still do it now, Michael. So if I'm wrong, you can shoot me later. But when the finger's broken and they will splint it to the other one in the
Uh-huh.
interim to getting the service you need to get it fixed, because it's stronger together. You put the your fingers together so
Right.
that,
It's sport.
because if
Yeah.
you go with the broken one, then it's gonna be crooked. I gotta
No,
remember which fingers I got out.
I'm laughing because Michael has said this a few different times. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm really glad for the interaction of our audience, because um, this has applied. Teamwork makes the dream work. And it really does.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the
buddy
word. Thanks, Michael.
buddy tape. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like even buddy taping yourself to another person sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah.
When there is a person, I know I have a daisy that I can see it, and if I catch it soon enough and I just come up and I just give some good solid pressure without being obvious to anybody else,
Mhm.
it's kind of like that buddy tape, and it just grounds that daisy. Oh, we're brownies now. Sorry, that it grounds that brownie, and we're able to move onward.
Right. She's
Um,
talking Girl Scouts for anybody who thinks she's talking flowers and food.
oh yeah, sorry. I don't know if you could squeeze a daisy. You might smush it.
I know.
Well, you
That's what
could
I was.
dry a daisy,
Yeah.
and you could make daisy tea. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm back. All right. So, but where I
See,
was,
that was great. Can I interrupt you for a second?
what?
Because that was a perfect example of what I was actually going to share. Is again that the student being aware of what their thought is doing versus like and I've done this before, and Fran just did it. Was, oh wait, I'm getting off, my brain is going off track. I need to tell myself to get back on track.
Uh,
That is I mean, that's now I have to go make brownies. Well, good,
hey,
drop
wait,
some
we
off
were
at my
supposed to
house.
have a barbecue too,
Yeah,
weren't we?
that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. We really are off track now. Thank you, Michael, so much.
But yeah, I mean, that you just did a perfect example of what I was going to say is to just catch he to start catching himself, because as an adult
Right.
there isn't going to be anybody there, and he is a middle schooler. He's starting to get into that you want to start getting those practices going and teaching him of and I've done this before, like I think it was I don't know if it was the last episode or the one before, where I wasn't like totally, my day had gone completely wonky compared to what I thought it was going to go. And I was having a hard time maintaining my focus on Fran. And I had to tell myself, focus on Fran, focus on Fran. What is she saying? Because I wanted to be thinking about other things. So we need a planning meeting for the barbecue.
Oh, now I'm starting to drool because I think because of all this talk of food, it's made me realize I don't think I ate.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the clock going, I haven't had lunch yet. And oh, we're gonna have to wrap up. I'll be able to eat soon. So and,
Oh, we
and
have to wrap up?
pretty soon. Yeah. And
Okay.
so that's another thing, E. Calhoun, is to let your child know that they're pretty normal. To be perfectly honest, because everybody has those moments. Now, unfortunately for your child, they probably have a lot more of those moments, or maybe constantly. But we all have those where we start to think about other things, but it's a matter of pulling ourselves back and being able to do what we need to do in that moment. So that chunk of time that Fran talked about at the beginning of this question. So I appreciate that. So yeah, we have about this many minutes to go. Okay.
Okay, doke.
So we should start winding up, because sometimes our wind up takes a long time wind down.
Well, it took us a long time to wind in, to wind out, to wind up, to
I
wind
know.
around.
I know. So, E.
Right?
Calhoun, we are so very appreciative
Yeah.
of your question today because that we really had no direction today. Well, I mean, yeah.
And Michael and Alex, thank you for joining
Yes.
us, and you're keeping it real. And
Yes.
and
And for your help
yeah.
giving advice. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that we have said how many times, Fran, is that we don't want anybody to feel like they're alone. And
No.
we are so appreciative of E. Calhoun asking the question and for our audience and us to be able to prove that E. Calhoun is not alone. They were able to reach out to us
Yeah.
and you know, and sorry, I don't know if you're a he or a she or so. um, but yeah, just being able to be there for everybody that needs us.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is a good thing.
It is good to reach out to people. So, Michael, can
And
you plan the planning meeting, please? So,
the, to plan the plan. Oh,
right.
no, stop. I'm stopping. I'm coming back. Here I am. Sorry, I have cat hair. My cat is shedding, and so half of this time I've been trying to figure out where the cat hair is stuck on me. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, yeah. I hate that when that happens to me. It's like, okay, I know it's not normally cat hair. It's
Oh,
normally my own
thanks,
hair.
Alex. I like that. Can you share that?
Yep. You may not have started with a direction, but a good session. Thanks again. Our pleasure. This was awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm going to be coming remote
Okay.
when we meet again.
And I'm
And I'll let
hopefully
you
going to
know.
have my new setup by then.
Yes, cool. And so hopefully I'll have a good signal and you'll have a good signal, and maybe I can tell you my adventures of fire.
Okay. Just burn that you intend to burn.
What?
Only
You cut
burn the
out.
wood that you intend to burn. Don't go crazy.
Oh, I'm very conscientious about how I build fires.
Good.
Nothing flies away or anything like that. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
I,
Okay.
I'm part of that single match club, you know. Did you know about that?
I do not know.
You can start a fire with a match. That's it.
Well,
And keep
wait.
it burning.
Nothing but a match? Or wood
Well,
and
no,
one?
no. You have to have all your stuff, but you have
Oh,
to gather it, and
right.
you can
Do you
only
have to
use a
put it in a
match.
teepee? Kind of?
Um,
Kind of?
A-ish,
Okay.
like an
I
A. I
can't.
don't know.
Um, Forward is the direction no matter how fast or slow we go.
As
He
long as it's
fixed it.
forward. But
Forward is the
mine
direction no matter how
mine
fast
tend
we
to
go.
go like sideways and backwards and upways and downwards.
Any
Oh, okay.
forward is progress, right? That what it is?
Forward is progress.
Forward movement is progress, no matter
Well,
how
what if
much
what if
or
you
how
have to
fast.
go to the side? Is that progress?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that'll be
So
next
any
week's
any
topic.
type of movement is progress? But what if you're in a pause? Is that progress?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we have next week's topic.
So what truly defines progress? That is the question.
Ah, great topic.
Okay.
And on that note, we need to say goodbye.
Aw,
I know.
goodbye. So long.
Goodbye. Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen.
We already said goodbye.
Tschüss.
So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Okay.
Adieu. Adieu.
And you. And you. I'm ending.